If this reached you on July 15th, it's not random. Archangel Michael is desperate to deliver a final message before midnight strikes. My beloved, this did not reach you by mistake. No, not this message, not this hour, not even this very breath you're taking as you read these words. Tonight is not like every other night. There's something trembling in the unseen, something sacred that heaven has been trying to whisper to you since the sun opened its eyes. Archangel Michael has been circling your name like a guardian who refuses to rest, who refuses to leave until the truth pierces through the veil that life has wrapped around you. This is not just another moment, this is a doorway. And heaven is desperate that you walk through it before midnight comes, like a seal over things unsaid. If you felt chills, if your spirit slowed down to pause at this message, then you already know, this is not random. It never was. Heaven watches when you pretend you're okay. It listens when you say, "I'm fine," even when your soul is screaming in silence. But tonight, God didn't ask Archangel Michael to whisper. He told him to cry out. He told him to interrupt your scrolling, your routine, your numbness. Because there is something in your life that must shift. Not next week. Not next year. Now. Tonight. Before the clock reaches that sacred minute when what's hidden is sealed again. There's a person you haven't fully healed from. There's a promise you buried too quickly. There's a voice from above that you keep pushing away, but heaven has never stopped calling your name through it. Michael was told to descend with urgency, not because you're weak, but because you're chosen. Because God knows how long you've been trying to be strong while silently breaking. Because there's a door about to open that your name is written on, but it will not remain open forever. This message is your final call before the shift begins. You are being pursued by purpose, not punishment. You are being searched for by light, not shadow. And Archangel Michael's wings are beating the air around your atmosphere even now. You may not see him, but you can feel him. In the sudden silence. In the goosebumps you can't explain. In the weight of this moment wrapping around your spirit. He saw the tears you cried when no one responded. He heard the prayers you whispered in your bathroom, muffled by a towel, because you didn't want anyone to hear you break. He felt the moment you almost gave up and said, "Maybe this is just my life now," and he rushed back to God saying, "Father, if I don't get this message to them tonight, they'll start believing the lie that their best days are gone." And heaven said yes. Heaven cleared every spiritual airwave. And heaven waited until July 15th. Because today is not just a date. It's an appointment. An unfolding. A spiritual alignment. A divine echo in the story of your life. You didn't stumble on this. You were summoned to it. Called into it. Prepared for it by every heartbreak, every delay, every confusing silence you've endured. You are not behind. You are right on time. This message is not asking you to figure it all out. It's asking you to feel the weight of heaven's pursuit of you, to let go of the lie that you were forgotten, to step back into the truth that angels have been dispatched for your deliverance. The kind of deliverance that isn't loud, but sacred, gentle, private, and irreversible. Midnight is coming, not as a warning, but as a marking, a line in the sand, a moment where what used to delay you will be left behind. If you hear this now, know this: you are not being asked to run. You're being asked to receive. Because something beautiful is on its way to you. And all you have to do is open your heart before midnight closes the gate to this divine moment. Archangel Michael has waited not for hours, but for moments ordained in heaven to finally release what you were meant to hear, not with your ears, but with your soul. There are things that cannot be spoken through ordinary language, things that require silence to be heard, and you, child of heaven, are standing inside one of those sacred silences now. A holy hush has covered the noise around you, because heaven needs you still. Heaven needs you soft. Heaven needs you open. Because what Michael has carried in his hands for 2 hours isn't a command, it's a confirmation. A whisper from eternity that says, you were never forgotten. You were being positioned. The person you thought left you behind is not the one this message is about. This is not about who walked away. This is about who stayed when you didn't even know. A soul who begged heaven for you to feel again. A soul who still remembers how you smiled when you were young and untouched by betrayal. A soul, maybe from your blood, maybe from your lineage, who loved you more in their absence than others did in their presence. They whispered your name into the heavens, not out of desperation but out of divine agreement. And when they spoke, the atmosphere responded. Archangel Michael responded. Heaven said, let them know. Let them hear before this night turns over into the next. You are not alone in this. Even now, you are being watched over by eyes that no longer cry, but still remember how yours do. The one who passed didn't vanish. They transitioned, from flesh to glory, from pain to presence. But they didn't forget you. And they didn't stop praying. You think you're the only one who prays for answers, but sometimes, heaven echoes the prayers of those who've passed on, and one of those echoes reached today. July 15th. Not a coincidence. A divine response. Michael saw it all. The day you tried to act okay but your hands were shaking. The night you stared at the ceiling wondering if this is how your story would end, in confusion, unanswered questions, and silence from above. But what if the silence was sacred? What if it wasn't absence, but preparation? The quiet before a miracle. The hush before the shift. That is what this moment is, beloved. The silence before a new chapter breathes its first word. Tonight, You are being asked not to run to others for validation. Not to scroll past this trying to numb the pull in your chest. But to sit still. To receive what was always meant for you. There is a blessing assigned to your name. But heaven won't force it into rushed hands. It will deliver it into surrendered ones. And if you've reached this far, it means you're ready. It means the doors are open. It means the moment you thought would never come is already here, disguised as a message, hidden in words that know you deeper than your reflection ever has. Before midnight strikes, Michael has one final instruction: let go of what never returned your light. The time has come to stop begging for spaces that made you shrink. Your expansion has been authorized. And the weight you've been feeling, that's not depression. That's destiny trying to stretch your soul wider than your wounds. You are not being broken, you are being born into something new. Your name has been spoken in the council of heaven. Not as a question, but as a solution. And the moment your name was uttered, light answered. The kind of light that heals generations. The kind of light that can only come when you stop doubting that you're worthy of divine attention. Archangel Michael isn't here to scare you. He's here to stir you. To call you back into remembrance of who you are when all the world's noise is gone. And right now, in this still moment before midnight touches the sky, heaven has whispered one final thing to you through him: prepare. Because what's coming next will make everything make sense. Archangel Michael is still here, standing at the threshold of your awareness, not demanding attention but inviting surrender. His wings do not cast shadows of fear but rays of remembrance. He has not come with punishment. He has come with promise. A promise that your name, which echoed in silence for years, has now reached the ears of heaven's scribe. A name wrapped in tears, prayers, questions, confusion, and yet, loved. Always loved. The heavens have not only heard you. They've been watching. And today, they're responding. This is not about what others did to you. This is not about betrayal, abandonment, or even misunderstanding. This is about you reclaiming your narrative, your essence, your place in the divine design. The person in heaven, the one you still see in dreams, the one whose absence made life harder to taste, they didn't forget you. In fact, they waited for this day, for this moment, for this very breath, where Michael would be released to speak into your soul. And you, yes you, are one of the few chosen to receive it. There are things that couldn't be said until now. You wouldn't have believed it then. You would have tried to fix everything around you, even what wasn't yours to carry. But now your spirit is wiser. Now your wounds have become wells. And from those wells, heaven is drawing water. Not to remind you of your pain, but to pour into others who are still thirsty for hope. Your scars are sacred scrolls, and Michael is unfolding them with the reverence of eternity. This is what you didn't know: your life is not late. Your purpose is not lost. Your story is not forgotten. It was being written behind the veil while you cried in front of it. While you mourned what left, heaven was preparing what would arrive. There is a moment scheduled that will bring you full circle. You will look at a certain place, or person, or date, and suddenly understand why everything had to unfold the way it did. And when that moment comes, you'll cry. But it won't be sorrow. It will be release. It will be recognition. It will be rebirth. And now, Michael speaks softly but clearly, tell them they are ready. Tell them the oil is in their hands. Tell them to stop waiting for permission from people who were never appointed to their calling. Tell them to rise with quiet strength, because the world has seen enough loud lies. Now it's time for silent truth. This isn't hype. This isn't another spiritual phrase thrown into the wind. This is an angel standing by your side saying, "You've waited long enough." Now the heavens are responding. The person who passed didn't just leave memories behind, they left a spiritual inheritance. And part of that inheritance is unfolding now. They begged heaven, not for their own peace, but for yours. And heaven answered. Through signs. Through timing. Through this message. Don't let your mind talk you out of what your spirit has already confirmed. You felt the shift, haven't you? The restlessness that doesn't come from lack of sleep, but from destiny knocking. The sensation that something invisible is walking with you. That's because it is. Michael's presence is not a metaphor. It's a mission. You were marked before you were even born. And today, July 15th, that mark is being activated. The darkness you passed through. It wasn't just random suffering. It was sacred training. And now the pain has matured. It no longer seeks revenge. It seeks redemption. You don't need apologies to move forward anymore. You don't need everyone to understand. You just need to walk in what you know deep within, that heaven is backing you, angels are aligning for you, and something divine is closer than it's ever been. This is the chapter where confusion dies. Where delay bows. Where what you lost becomes the very foundation of what will build you next. You are not standing in ordinary time. You are standing in a divinely scheduled moment. And Archangel Michael isn't whispering anymore. He's commanding the winds, shifting the air, clearing the path, because your blessing needs no more detours. The heavens are not quiet tonight. Something is stirring. Not in fear, not in chaos, but in preparation. Archangel Michael has not left your side since this began. He hasn't moved because you haven't moved, not physically, but spiritually. You've stood still at the edge of something divine, wondering, hoping, doubting, surrendering, all at once. And while the world kept rushing, heaven kept watching. Watching the posture of your heart, the purity of your hope, the faith that remained even when everything else disappeared. This is what summoned him. This is why he has waited 2 hours, not because you were late, but because this moment had to be exact. Someone you loved deeply in this life, someone who once held you or prayed over you or simply smiled at your spirit, they've been asking heaven again and again, please, just one moment. Just one message. Just one window. And heaven agreed. Not because you earned it, but because you endured. And in the silence of your endurance, God made room for the voice of the departed to echo through eternity. They've been calling out not from grief, but from gratitude. Because even in their absence, you carried their light. Even in your hardest hours, you kept remembering love. And now, that love is remembering you. This part of your life isn't about healing old wounds. That already began long ago. This is about activating the anointing you forgot was in you. The anointing to break patterns. To walk away from anything beneath your worth. To speak when your silence has been mistaken for consent. To see visions while others chase illusions. This is not about becoming something new, it's about returning to what you already were before the world wounded you. Michael stands now with a scroll. Not ancient, but alive. It glows with the residue of prayers that you didn't even know you prayed, those whispered thoughts, those private tears, those exhausted, God, please, moments. Every single one caught, sealed, documented. And now heaven is responding with more than comfort. It is responding with strategy. You are not called to suffer. You are called to shake foundations with your existence. You are not called to question your identity. You are called to carry legacies that were buried in silence. A shift is taking place that no human hand can reverse. A shift in the spirit, where what was delayed is now being divinely accelerated. Where the tables are not just turning, they are being replaced. You will no longer sit in rooms begging to be seen. You will be the room. The presence. The power. Because God has decided, enough of the enemy having the final word in your story. Now heaven speaks. And when heaven speaks, nothing stands. The one who passed away has waited long enough. They are not coming to haunt you, they are coming to honor you. They know what you carried silently. They know how you wept without witness. They saw you wear their memory like armor, not like weight. And now they've asked for one thing, that you know why it all had to happen. Why they left. Why you stayed. Why the pain lingered. And why now, finally, God is revealing what was hidden. Archangel Michael is here to tell you this is not the end of a season. It is the end of a cycle. The end of settling. The end of spiritual delay. The end of others reaping what was yours to harvest. The end of misalignment, emotional confusion, and lingering shadows. A new door is already open. You do not need to knock. You need only walk. And before this midnight strikes, something in you must be released, because something for you has already been released in heaven. Your name has been activated. The timing is not accidental. You are not reading this by mistake. You are receiving this because God orchestrated it. Archangel Michael pleaded for the chance to speak, and now he has. Now it is your time. My child, listen closely, because this is not just a message. This is an unveiling. This is what your spirit has been waiting for in silence. Archangel Michael has been circling this very moment like a guardian waiting for the gate to open. The moment has come, and what heaven is about to show you will make everything finally make sense. Not just the pain, but the pauses. Not just the tears, but the timing. Not just the loss, but the legacy it left behind in your soul. There is something sacred about you that no one has fully seen, and heaven is ready to bring that part into full light. That's why the angel has waited for hours. That's why the wind feels different in your life. Something bigger is waking. You may think you've been forgotten. You may think others ran ahead of you and doors closed because you missed your turn. But the truth is, heaven was preserving you. Keeping you hidden, not to punish you, but to protect the version of you that is now ready to rise. There were places that couldn't contain your calling. People who couldn't handle your heart. Seasons that couldn't sustain your spiritual power. So God did not reject you, He reserved you. And Archangel Michael has now been cleared to speak that truth over you before midnight strikes. Because before this night turns into another morning, something will shift in the spirit. You are standing on the edge of a new beginning. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to prove anything to receive it. You just have to believe that your wait was not a waste. Someone you love dearly from heaven, a soul who walked this earth with you, is watching this moment unfold. And with every breath, they are whispering your name in glory. They know what you lost. They know what was done in secret. And they begged heaven to let you know, you are not alone, and you never were. They saw the battles that never made it into your prayers. They felt your loneliness when you smiled through gatherings. They knew the courage it took to stay soft in a world that kept trying to harden you. And they are proud. Not just of your survival, but of your sacred stillness. The way you didn't let bitterness replace your brilliance. The way you let your spirit break but never let your love disappear. And for this, a reward is coming, not a material one first, but a soul-level reward that will restore what life silently took from you. Archangel Michael speaks now not to warn, but to rebuild. He comes not as a soldier with a sword, but as a brother with wings wide open, inviting you to rise from the emotional ashes. This final message is not filled with thunder. It is filled with healing. There are places inside of you that have been aching for closure, not just from people, but from heaven itself. And now that closure comes, not through an answer, but through an activation. The angels are not here to explain. They are here to equip. Because the next chapter of your life is not about healing your old wounds, it is about carrying your holy purpose with strength that cannot be shaken. Even now, heaven is rearranging situations on your behalf. People are waking up to their mistakes about you. Opportunities that forgot your name are being reminded by divine forces. The hand of God is reaching into timelines to realign what was stolen, delayed, buried. And you, yes, you, are about to walk into rooms where your name was already mentioned, your presence already expected, your heart already honored. Because this is your moment, not by luck, not by force, but by divine design. And before midnight, Archangel Michael asks one thing of you: don't go back to who you had to be to survive. You don't need the masks anymore. You don't need to shrink to make others feel comfortable. You don't need to doubt your instincts. You don't need to pretend it didn't hurt. You are allowed to be soft and strong, loud and loving, broken and bold, all at once. You are allowed to be fully you. Because that version of you, that's who heaven has been waiting to reveal.